A reminder, today's conference is being recorded.
Hello everybody, so this is the XStepCafe again after a vacation break from my side, and glad that so many people are joined today. The usual game, you can enter some polling information here, or I would like you to do that, just for my information. And in case you want to mute your phone, please press *6. You don't have to though, unless you're in a noisy environment. I would like you to do that. But this is not a one-man show. Everybody can talk whenever he wants. So I didn't prepare anything because there was no concrete wishes up front, so it's all more or less improvised today again. But in the last times that was also quite nice. So let's see what we can do there. Question: is there anything you want to discuss here? Anybody has a special question or so?
Yeah, probably me. It's Andreas. My question would be, is it possible to change the description when I enter the PI sheet, the browser-based PI sheet, independent if it is generated using XSteps or the old customizing-based PI sheet? Is it possible to change the description where normally stands the face number?
You mean the description of the face header?
Yeah, I mean, if you, let's say, if you enter the PI sheet using the CO60,
yes,
and you have the different sections where you can drill down or hide the real content.
Yes, that's
I
possible.
mean, it's clear for me that we can change the description in the boxes where we really have the instructions in, but is it also possible to change the...
Yes, of course.
That text?
You need to have at the very beginning of the phase. First of all, if you're using the process instruction-based PI sheets, you need to have one instruction at the very beginning of the phase, or for every phase, which has the characteristic PPPI phase short text evaluated, and usually you would automatically evaluate that, or it is usually automatically evaluated, so you will see the phase description there if you do that. If not, it's just phase 0010 or something like that. So that's basically all you can do. Another text would be more effort to do. Is that what you wanted?
I think so. Yeah. Although right now, or usually as the standard value, we have there the phase, I don't know, 0010 or something like that. And I want really to change this text already.
Yeah, I can show you an example in a minute. Just a quick. So thank you for your polls. I'm going to quickly through these rules here, which I'd like to display every now and then, so that everybody knows what this is all about and what especially it is not about. So some things we really should leave to the normal channels of SAP. And so after showing this, I go to my presentation mode and share my screen to all. And to everybody who's new to this technique here, there's on the bottom there's there's a possibility to make a full screen, so that you see the full screen of what I'm showing here. Okay, so what I can show to you is just one of my usual examples. So you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's hopefully what you wanted to achieve.
This is more than I normally see. Usually I just have the phase 0, 1, 1.
If you do nothing, you only see the phase. So here you see the short text of the phase. And I will briefly. So this is based on XSteps. Of course, normally the things I show is based on XSteps, and I'll demonstrate. Hold on, this number. So, and here you see that's the tree of the XSteps, and there I've got a certain sequence built, and at the very beginning of each, so here I have this standard XStep which I have prepared, which has a generation scope here, so that's generated for every phase, and so you see it's at the very beginning, so there's nothing up front of this here. And here you see that there's nothing here, but I have that's SystemF where I have to compile some things. So I've got a parameter, which is the phase and the phase text, and that's the characteristic. And it's evaluated here with the text of the phase. Yes, and that's basically it. I think I don't know what I have to do. Something here. In this case, yeah. Okay. So to make this happen, it's not sufficient to just evaluate this parameter here when you're using XSteps, but you have to really insert manually on this level here, on this characteristic tab, this characteristic again, and put this parameter in this ampersand sign, so that the value of the parameter is then put in there. So that's necessary for XSteps to work. It's more simple in this case in process instructions, because there this characteristic is already evaluated automatically, so you just have to put it there and generate that instruction for every phase. Okay, so that's a quite simple one.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, if nobody else has a question, I've got a question to Minoj from BD.
Yes, please.
You had so Mark sent me a mail from you that you were interested in OPC and how to use OPC to integrate it with ERP. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That's correct. Yeah.
Up front, I've sent you the recordings of the sessions, and there is one session which had handled that topic already. So did you have a chance to look into that session already?
Maybe I did not. Did you send it to Mark Muir?
Yes.
Maybe
I
did not
forward it to you.
Yet.
Too bad. Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. So, but maybe we can just discuss a little bit about it. And there are also other people here on the phone who are the customers who have already implemented some things with OPC. So Peter Vogel, for example, from Abbott. They have weighing scenarios built with PI sheet and OPC connectivity. So Peter, you can maybe also contribute if you like. But Manoj, first of all, what are your questions? What are you interested?
What we are looking for is, we currently use just discrete only in Becton Dickinson, and what we are looking for is implement process PPPI, and on the PI sheet we would like to interface with OPC servers.
Mm-hmm.
So since we do not have a lot of understanding, as we do not use these capabilities currently, we would like to know what are the, what from configuration, what is required at high level, from infrastructure, what is required. So basically, if you can give us an overview of how other companies like Abbott you mentioned right now, what are some of the things that is required to get the OPC server and connection to the PI sheet?
Good. We can do that. Just before we start that, does anybody else has an urgent, pressing question he wants to put here? Because this can take some more time. I don't want to suppress anybody here.
That's just an information. Right now we are running in a problem during the archiving process on the big POC databases in 4.6. And I set up an OSS message. I was remembering what you said in your archiving session, and hopefully it is forwarded to development. They said it's forwarded to development, perhaps to downgrade the two programs you mentioned to the 4.6 environment. And I'm still waiting to get an answer if it can be done or it cannot be done.
But honestly, Peter, I don't know 4.6c when the maintenance is stopped for that release, but it's definitely not far away in the future. So chances are that 4.6c is not very much in the focus for such actions.
I just want to have the answer because the problem is we are not running with an electronic batch record. So if we do not get some development help, then perhaps I'm downloading it to ECC6 and see if I can downgrade it myself.
Okay. Let's keep me informed if you have any problems with that message, and maybe I can help it. Let's just try it by this normal channel first. Okay. If nobody else has any comment, then I'd like to go more into details here. So first of all, let's close some of these windows here. Manoj, does that mean you were saying that you were doing discrete production, so you're using PP in the production orders? Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And which release are you on right now?
We are 4.0b release. We have two releases we are working on right now. One is a 4.0b and other one is 4.7c. So we have about
B.
So we are at the process.
Wow.
10 years back. So we are in the process of upgrading to ECC, and hopefully we have started the project a year back. So we are currently in the realization phase. So maybe in next, we have a plan for implementation plan and rollout plan starting within 1 year.
In 1 year, okay, and that'll be also the target for this OPC integration, or
that is correct.
You don't aim for OPC integration before that, because for 4.0b does not have anything there, and 4.7 yes, it's there. But which of the systems would be the one where you would use OPC?
So what we want to do is, we are not planning to use the OPC server in our existing environment, 4.0b or 4.7. What we are planning to do is, we have different kind of business within Vector BD. One is a diagnostic business, one is medical business. And the diagnostic business, some of the characteristics are, it's the precision of weighing and scale is there. So people use the way and scale, but they are not through the PI sheet since we use discrete currently. So we are looking to understand how the PI sheet, what the connectors are, how does it work, which will help us in designing for future.
But you will still remain on PP, so you will not switch to PPPI. Is that correct?
What we are planning to do is, first we want to understand, the way we understand is, in PP, in discrete, we already know very well how discrete works. So what we have been given the understanding is, if we implement process industry solution for that particular business, then we will be able to use the PI sheet, and in the PI sheet, we can link to the OPC.
Okay. So I've got two questions or two remarks on that. So first of all, since you are upgrading to ECC and the latest enhancement pack, most probably, you will have the possibility to use the same technology as the PI sheets also for PP. So this is called electronic work instructions, and it's using the XStep technologies, and this is also possible for the production orders in that release. Yes?
Okay.
So that means also, and having said this, you can also use the OPC functionality which comes with that.
Okay.
So in principle, you could also use the same technology and stuff with production orders. Just for you to know your options, because maybe you are using for example, the tools or the document links in the production order very much, which is not possible in PPPI, or not that good possible in PPPI. Yes. So I have just when you get the links, and please ask Mark to forward this mail to you. There's the fourth session just covers a weighing scenario, which is based on XSteps, but on PPPI. But in principle, you could do the same with the PP-based work instructions. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So what I would do right now, I logged in one of our test systems with EHP3, where I could also show you the 6 steps for production order, and then I'll show you the basics of this OPC connectivity. Okay. So first of all, let's go to one transaction here, which is COOPC1. And let's go to this plan 1000. So here you see the customizing environment where you set up OPC connectivity. Okay. So you need to provide a username, and there's a something here. Oh, so I log off again and log in into English. Sorry about that. I forgot.
I could read it very well.
Yes, Peter. I know. Okay, again. So here you see an example where you have an OPC server included, and this OPC server needs an RFC destination, which I have set up here, and I create another session to show you this RFC destination here, SM59, it's the transaction, and here you see ODA, yeah, ODA. So that's the RFC connection I set up here from the R3 side. So that is this, and now what I'll do is I'll show you my local setup here. Okay, so so this is the the installation directory, which is the default directory for the SAP ODA connector. So this is a small Windows program which you can download from our service marketplace. I can also show you the link later on and install on your Windows machine. And it has an executable which you can either run as a service or run in foreground mode. So normally you would probably run it on in a service. When you install this, there's a small assistant running which basically asks for this information. So it's the destination. So this is the name, the program ID which you have to provide in the gateway host, and the gateway server. And if you compare this with this setting here, you see that this is the program ID here. This is the gateway host. This is the gateway service, registered server program here. So this must be match so that the connectivity is working. Okay, and let's do the connection test, and you will see that I get an error, and that's because I didn't start it. So I don't run this as a service here on my laptop, but I have here on my screen, I've got some batch data. That's this one here. So that's now the command line version with the command view here, and you see that it's running, right? So the connector has run, and if I do it again here, you see, okay, the connection, the RFC connection is there. Okay. Okay, so that's the first precondition, of course, you need to have, and then you can have here. So if I create a new, well, let's just do a new entry. So just to make this OPC server named demo 1, and then I have to provide this RFC destination, this one. So that's basically all I need to have in the R3 system, and then I can press here on F4, and then you see here that something happened here. So that there was this query on this machine. Please give me all the OPC servers, and there you go. So I can select this Matricon simulation server. Maybe I save it. Then I make a connection test. See, it's green, so it's running. I can click here to display the namespace. And you see that there are, I don't know who of you knows this Matricon simulation server, but this is quite a standard simulation server with certain simulation values, and I can also here press on this button here to just get all the values, and you see here that also here all the values are displayed, and if I press again and again and again, you see that there's something happening. So after every query, that simulation server gets some different returns some different data. Okay, so that's the OPC server, and that's basically what we are doing here is just defining aliases in R3 for OPC server and OPC tags. You can do that here. That's okay. You can do that, and then you can do these functionality in the PI sheet quite easily. Of course, you might need to do double maintenance work, because of course on the OPC server you also need to maintain all these tags. You need to name them and stuff like that, and then you're forced here to do the same again in R3, which is a little bit weird. So in my weighing scenario that I did, where I also used a lot of RFC function modules myself, so there I didn't use this internal function a lot, because I just took the native OPC tag IDs there to access them directly via RFC. So, but that's a more sophisticated approach, of course. Is there any questions? Please ask them at any time. Why not? Okay. So the next.
This was very good. Thank you.
Next.
I was on mute.
Oh, okay. The next step would be to. Yeah, here you see some of the OPC data access items. So these are the tags, and I can add a new entry here. Demo 1_1. Real 4. Something like that. Browse for my defined OPC server. So these are the ones in R3. Yeah. And then I browse here, and there again, maybe I'm just doing this like that. Let's just see instantly what happens here on the other side. Yeah, so, no. Okay, so when I press F4 now, oops, I need to save here so that the OPC server is really already in the system. So now I'll do that, and now you see whenever I open something, you see something is also happening here. So that's always the communication which is going back and forth here, and then I can choose this real 4 value. Maybe I check the device data access, so that's the direct one. Save this, and then I can immediately read this. You see? And you see here, that's local here, that window here on my laptop. You see the values, and you see them also here. So that's already the proof that OPC integration here, direct with an OPC server, is working in R3. Okay. Of course, you can, if you have a writable tag, you can also write to that tag here. But this is only these are only some test functionality. So this is not the real productively used functionality. There's also the possibility to if the OPC server, let's launch this again. If the OPC server allows subscription here, you can also on the you can also register to these elements. The Magicon is not working very well, but I think the softing here. Let's try it with minute. Okay, so that one here I can read here, and you see, well, it's 32 is the minute, so that's the current minute, and I register here, register this, okay, and then you see, okay, that's 32, and then we can talk a little bit, and when the next minute is started, it should automatically add a new line here. And this event you can also then use in the PI sheet to try to automatically react on things. Right? So that's possible. Right. What else? So that's basically the setup side of it all.
Can you, Arnie, if you don't mind, can you explain the last point that you mentioned? Is you can set it up such that it can react to the PI sheet.
Not to the PI sheet. No. In the PI sheet, especially, I don't know. Are you on? Oh no, you don't know it at all. But in the PI sheet, at some point in some release, we added commands and event functionality in the PI sheet. So what does that mean? There you can specify a certain event and a certain action which is to be triggered, for example, a function module or a command which changes something in the PI sheet, when that event happens. Okay, and this event can be some internal event like document saved or parameter changed or something like that, or it can be an external event like this one. So the value changed event of this tag. Okay, so that can also be used to react on this OPC values. Was that clear?
So I understand about the internal event changes like document changed or saved, but external event.
This is an external event what you right now see, because this is coming from this local softing OPC server. So this softing OPC server has a tag which is called minute, and it is updated or changed every minute to the minute number. 34
and what
is the
will
current.
what will that do? Will that provide some entry in the PI sheet?
If you would set it up that way, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe we can try. There's still enough time to try to do that. I will so show you on this setup side on the master data for the PI sheet or the work instruction how this would work. So let's. I don't show you all what's about XStep's and repository because please have a look at the recorded sessions and you will get it. So I will just try to set something up very quickly. Maybe I'm just creating a production order from scratch. So this one, do. Okay, pieces. So here you see that's an XStep tree which is drawn from the routing. So it's same as it draws the BOM or the operation list. It draws the XStep tree here from the routing here for this production order with certain standard XSteps and other elements. I will skip that for now, so I will just remove these here so that we can concentrate on this OPC stuff. I will maybe also use a different destination here, just this one here, standard. Okay, so what I'll do is first I create just a new XStep as a folder. I assign this to a context, which is in this case an operation, so for example operation 10. And then I will create a process instruction and hold on. Yeah, first I have to create a parameter maybe. So in this XStep I create a parameter which is I call OPC1, and this is a local parameter and characteristic is VPPI. Let's just do it short text. That's the safest one so that I don't have to care about any formatting issues. So it's not evaluated, so I'll evaluate it in the process. And I will create here control data, manufacturing data access. So this is the point where I can access OPC functionality. So double clicking on this, you see that execution manually is default. You can also execute something on an event. But let's just first try this only manual and get OPC data. Okay. Before I continue, I just save this order first. So I go to this tab data points, I create a new line, and then I use the help. And here you see a lot of different categories. These can be system information like date and time, something which does not have to do anything with OPC, something like internal data from PI sheet or cockpits or process message stuff. I would concentrate here now on ODA. This is OPC data access. And it's all organized in plans, so I have to use plan 1000 here. And I'm using this maybe softening minute. By the way, I mean, I can also use the qualifiers here, the attributes like quality and all this stuff. But if I don't use anything, it's using the PV current value, so I'm just using that one here. So I read that value. I read that value into a parameter, and the parameter is OPC. Okay. So, and I add another element here, which is called output parameter value, and I say result, and I choose this parameter. Okay. Okay, let's do some test control recipe here to see how this will look like. So test control recipe is generated here. Space here. I don't need this anymore. I need these. Okay. So I need to send this control recipe. Normally this is done with a job, so you don't have to do this manually. Now this is the one here. Okay. And I'm calling the CO60XT, which is the newest version of this transaction, which is basically the normal entry point for operators to work on PI sheets or work instructions. So there's a lot of selection possibilities here, which also can be restricted for operators, that they don't see so much things here. But this is our order here. All I have to do is I have to select the mode test, because I want to access this test control recipe here. I'm going to work instructions. Okay, and now I've got here my work instruction, and I click here on this button, and I see 42, and you see here on the time here 15:42, so that's my local time, so 42 is the minutes. Okay, so nothing happens here because the minute does not change, and I'm just going back, and let's use another session here for this one. You see also here the registered stuff here. You see that it has captured all the elements here. Okay. I'm going back to that order. I delete the generation. And what I'm doing now is, since this is a data point which is enabled for events, so for a value changed event, I can also say, okay, event-driven or manually and event-driven. So the button will be still there, but there's also an event which this element is listening to. And now I've got here an additional field. And here you see there are two categories. First, maybe I can show you what internal elements are. Like, these are all events that are happening in the process of working on this PI sheet or work instruction. Okay, so this is one possibility, and the other possibility, which I will use now, is external events. And again, here I could choose the alarms and events category, which is also possible, but this is a sort of a special event because it has something to do with a data access element. So I'm choosing this one here, and I'm using this value changed event. So I'm choosing that one here. So this is the value, and I'm creating another control recipe for test. Okay. I'm running this again, so you see there are two now. One is new. Okay. Right, and let's just wait a little bit. Hopefully this will work. Let's maybe first query, so that's the 45, and then we have to wait till the minute is completed, and then this should be automatically also refreshed to 46. Just one word on these events in PI sheets. I mean, it's very safe to use the internal PI sheet events. That's there you don't have any problems. However, if you're using external events and you expect a PI sheet to react very timely on events that are appearing very fast, you will fail. This won't work. So
can you give me one moment, Arnie? Can you give me Kevin Furr also joined in from BD. He's my boss, and he joined in. So I'll just give me 30 seconds to explain what you have been doing. This will help him understand where we are and ask any questions.
Okay.
So first, you have explained basically 3 points. First is
before you continue. Here you see now it's 46. So it has updated it. Okay.
First 10-15 minutes, you have explained how to define alias in R3 for OPC server and OPC tags. And the second one is you did the connection testing. And now what you are going through is data accessing on the PI sheet. The two ways you can access the data. One is internal events and commands, and second one is external events and commands. So you have shown how the internal events and commands you can press
one comment on that. You have to distinguish between the actual data access. I mean that's always the same. So it's an access to an external data source. And the other thing, what you mean right now, is how to trigger that read action. And it can be done either manually, and that's just this button, or it can be done on an internal event, a PI sheet event, or it can be done also on an external event, which you were seeing here, because now it's 47 here. That's the minute.
Yes. So now where we are, Kevin, is just the process of OPC server and the connection testing and the data access. Right now, Arnie is showing that the data access, the results that we see over here, it is a minute, the time minute, the 47 minutes, and as the time changes, the data over here will change. So, and I was explaining to Arnie earlier that we were looking at this information plus the architecture information, what it will need for us to install and get the connections working.
Okay.
All right.
So, Kevin, if you want to say something, sorry.
I was just going to say thanks for the quick update.
Okay. Just in terms of how fast you can do that, I have been, when I was still a consultant, I have been at a customer in the Netherlands, and I was also explaining all these OPC stuff, and I had still half an hour time at the end, and I said, okay, let's just try it. If you bring me a laptop here and I can install something on that, we will do that. And they were like looking at me like if I would be mad. And then I installed this OPC, this SAP ODA on that machine, which is just a 5-minute action. Then I had to create that RFC connection on their ERP system, did the customizing and showed them that I could access these data tags. Yeah, I had to install also an OPC simulation server. That was also something. So and that I did in maybe 20 minutes. So that, I mean that's just for show. Of course, if you have a project and you want to really organize a huge number of tags and also want to design a process around it. So that's of course more. One other thing I want to mention is, apart from what I've shown you here, so let's go back again into this order. So this is the way of defining OPC data access here with standard methods. So this here and this here is all using the customizing on and standard functionalities. You can also use, if you want, function modules that are behind this standard functionality. If you want to do other things, or if you want, some customers we have who don't want to do that in the PI sheet, so they build in some ABAP programs around it and use these function modules. So this is also possible, but of course this is a very easy way to do it. But I must say, if you are looking at the recording number 4 of the XStepCafe session, all that you will see there has I've used own built function modules, where I use these standard function modules inside the ERP. So I didn't use these standard elements here for some reasons, but. So having said this, maybe, I don't know, Peter, do you want to comment also or give a brief experience update from another customer using OPC?
Yeah, we are using OPC.
So it's Abbott.
In Abbott, yes. In the weigh and dispense area with a manual weighing and an OPC-driven weigh. And we are using it for different hoppers and other values like temperature, like volume and such stuff. But we are using it in 4.6c on PPPI with an enhanced function module. But actually we are using the standard OPC connection.
And in one of our last sessions, you also gave a presentation on that.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, you can see it. I think it's on 10, 11, or 12 or something.
I have written a description on this link list, so you will find it.
Yeah.
Peter, if you don't mind, I have a question. Maybe you can help a little bit. You mentioned in Abbott you are using temperature weighing and the volume measurement in using standard OPC connectors. So what Arnie mentioned just now was internal and external data access. Do you use both internal and the external data access? Or
No, it's all external data access, what I explained. So this internal stuff is only about events. So don't mix up things up, please.
Okay. So how? Okay. So I understand. Okay.
Perhaps it would be a good idea to check the presentation the presentation I did on the Abbott access on weigh and dispense. And if you got some questions on how we did it, just forward me an email and we can talk on the phone, or I can send you some information.
Kevin and Peter, since I don't use the normal to field for my emails, nobody else knows the email address of the other participants.
Okay.
So just send me an email and I will forward, and you can then choose to exchange your email address if you want.
Okay.
So I just wanted to not to have this openly.
Hi, this is Kevin Furr from BD. Just one question with Abbott. How many sites are they doing? Do they have externally connected into SAP to do data, to do the what's called data collection or the OPC connection? I mean, are they just doing it to one site, or is it a hub and spoke with many sites feeding connected into the system?
Right now we do have it, as far as I can remember, on 3 sites. But on one side we extended it pretty much with the coding. The other sides are We do have a nutrition site where we are extensively using the OPC connection. Other sites are using, as far as I remember, only the whey and dispense. In the nutrition area, we are using it a lot more extensively.
Okay. Yeah, if you could provide information on the architecture, I see on if it's Arne's screen that you have softening OPC tool in the lower right-hand corner. The real question that we have is from what I've read, industry recommends potentially doing tunneling and other things for getting the data path from your data center out to the manufacturing site to ensure that you don't have packet loss or other network issues getting OPC data back.
Actually, I have no information on. We are using it right now very extensively in Singapore, and I have no information that they got any problems in doing the OPC read with losing some package information.
But I think that depends strongly on the IT structure of each customer. So some customers, I believe, have very strict borders between engineering and IT. So and this OPC stuff is more the engineering side. So Kevin, you're right that this might be an issue, but there are solutions also in the market for tunneling and also unifying OPC tags, so that you can, for example, if you have got a lot of different devices from different vendors with different OPC servers, so they might have different structures in their OPC tag hierarchy. You can find a lot of tools in the market to unify that and also to tunnel things. So I think Matricon has some things and maybe others as well. Of course, that's additional software, yes, but it's possible to do that.
Okay. Yeah, because it's just learning how you manage. If you end up with one site with 100 devices and then you have another site with 50 devices, how do you efficiently manage maintaining that device list?
Yeah. But that's something. Yeah, that's more the low level device configuration part. Yeah? So that's more the task that an engineering department would do, and they would lay out these things, and then.
But I'm not talking about the actual weight scale. I'm talking about the connections to them, because that's critical to the success of using PPPI with this type of data.
Kevin, I also pointed out to Manoj is that since you are upgrading to ECC 6 in a year time frame, there you will have the possibility also to use this technology, the PIG technology, for production orders, PP. Right. So that's also something you might consider.
Yeah, that's understood. Yeah, through XSteps. Yeah.
I'm demonstrating here with a production order, by the way.
Yep. But that's understood. It's more around. It's making sure you have a stable architecture.
Yeah, but the thing is, you cannot prevent, for example, that you have different devices from different vendors. I really have rarely seen it that this is a unified pool of one vendor devices. So
and I'm not. I fully understand. I understand you could have a diversity of devices from many manufacturers, but it's the pooling of those devices at the site and managing that those connections stay up, because if you're using XSteps with this and this becomes part of your production SOP, if you don't have a good stable architecture.
I mean, Kevin, you could of course just use this OPC customizing in ERP to organize all this, because here what we have here is this means of setting up all the different OPC servers that are around and the different data access items. And you can here also organize all these tags, if that is sufficient for you.
Okay. All right. No. So this is this is built into EC6.
That is built in there. It's also built in 4.7. But keep in mind that this is only a flat structure, and engineering many times wants to organize things in more hierarchical ways or something.
Yeah, and instead of using the term engineering, it's more from an IT perspective. You'd want to manage them based on site. So you'd want a tree that goes, this is site 1, site 2,
yeah,
site...
Yeah, I mean, that's you see that's planned 1,000, so it's organized by sites. That's okay, sorry, that's not only flat, it's organized by sites, but for one site, you have only a list.
Yep, and you don't have it by work center. So you don't have the ability to do a multiple tree structure.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you might what you could do, and I mean I did a project for weighing and dispense solution where I used equipment from plant maintenance and classification there. So you could also use an equipment or resource classification to maintain certain tags there, to sort of attach them to a certain work center or equipment, and then you can. That's what I did there. You can also assign an equipment to a work step there manually somehow, or with a function module or something, and then you can retrieve that OPC data from that classification, and then you can work with that. Yeah. So there are multiple ways on doing that. Some ways have less development needs, and some have more. So this, if you're just using this customizing, and the normal standard function that I have shown to Manoj before, then there's not much need of development, but there might be other ways, and you would have to do more programming maybe. So ABAP programs.
This is helpful. One other question. In the sites that you and Peter have worked at, are the companies maintaining the OPC data access items at what I'll call the corporate level, or are they allowing the sites to maintain this list? Well,
from my side, my clients there had, I had more clients, but the one with my weighing project, that was a small client, so that was basically the same. So no difference there. So maybe Peter has some different view.
Okay.
Peter? Maybe he has left because our time is up here.
Oh yeah.
So, and I have to go to a meeting anyway as well. So, but before you go, please, if you don't mind, could you rate the session there on the bottom left side? You can rate the session, so I have a feeling how you found this session.
Okay.
And next month we will have our cafe again open, and if you have any topics, questions, you can send them up to me up front. And Kevin, if you want to have contact to Peter Vogel, please send me a mail, and I will forward it to him.
Okay, thank you very much.
And that's it for today.